The surface is just presented in absolutely immaculate condition, and we're just delighted to be back down here again. This stadium is as good a boutique stadium as there is in the country, and we love to see it filled with blue and white. So we're hoping to get that tomorrow and really reinforce the home ground advantage we've got down here.
Playing some really good footy too, and it's probably the perfect place to keep the ball rolling, I suppose, tomorrow.
Yeah, it is. It's I think we're playing some pretty good footy, but we're still really confident our best's ahead of us. So it's been a good start to the year, but we think we're starting to build some real momentum. So tomorrow's a really important game for us against an opposition that will come out really aggressively and really competitively, and we've got to be ready for the fight.
Some good news with Scott Thompson confirmed for tomorrow. That was on your wish list this week. What can you tell us about his value?
Yeah, he's been a really important player. All Australian defenders don't come along every day, and Scott's certainly one of those. So we felt his loss last week, even though Lachlan Hansen came in and did a good job. We've got a number of players who are a bit unlucky to miss selection, but it's always nice to have your big, strong, experienced key defender in the side, and he only missed by a really small margin last week. So after another 8 days in between games, he's really ready to go.
From what you've seen of Melbourne in the first couple of rounds, what do you expect from them tomorrow?
I think they've really improved. I think they've got some really talented young players, and when you're picking in the top 5 in the draft, in modern footy with the development pathway the way it is, clubs just don't get those picks wrong anymore. So the players that they've got that are quite youthful are really talented, and couple that with some really good experience in guys like Bernie Vince and Nathan Jones and those sort of guys. So they're going to be a fierce opponent. The 8 days is a very long time in footy, and we expect a very different unit than the one that got beaten by Essendon last week.
Jesse Hogan's been under the pump this week. Do you put any extra work into him, given he's going to come out with a real point to prove, I suppose?
We're more focused on how we want to defend. I mean, he's a very important part of their forward line, but we can't control external criticism at the best of times, let alone worrying about opposition players who are copying it. So we'll just focus on what we need to do, but we're really conscious that he's a really talented player, and he's marked the ball against us before. So we're going to have to be on our game to get that done.
With the competition, I guess, getting really even, how important is it to get wins early so you can stay ahead of the 8 ball and not feel as though you have to make up later on?
Oh, look, it definitely helps. I mean, I think the hallmarks of really good teams are the ones who can bank wins when they're not playing their best, and we feel like we're playing pretty well, but we're not at our best. So that's as important as early wins are to us, that we can just keep building momentum while still ticking the scoreboard over. So, but tomorrow just continues that theme, and we're going to be looking to produce our best. And what the competition's showing at the moment, that if you're a little bit off, you get beaten. I think last week was a pretty good example of that.
Melbourne have never played here before. They're not training here before tomorrow's game. What do you make of that decision to not get a feel of the ground before the game?
Oh, because the weather's so consistent down here in Hobart, it wouldn't matter too much whether they train here today or not. Tomorrow's going to be fairly different, you'd expect. But that's up to them. I mean, we've been to the Adelaide Oval before, sight unseen. I mean, at the end of the day, I think they'll be very, very happy with what they see when they get here tomorrow, if this is the first time they're seeing it. Just a superb surface and a superb stadium.
With the start of Jarrad Waite, mate, he's had a really good, showing no signs of slowing down.
Yeah, he's playing well, but it's on the back of a really good pre-season. He's really well prepared, really fit, and he's able to do what he does best. A lot of players in the AFL competition sometimes play under a little bit of duress, but Wadey's just at the peak of his fitness, so he's able to do what we know he's capable of.
Brad, is there a particular area to get to that best level of footy? Is there a particular area across the ground you put your finger on after those first couple of rounds, or is it across the board you want to see a bit of improvement?
Yeah, nothing stands out, and that's a pleasing thing as well, because we've attacked pretty well, we've defended pretty well, we've been good in the contest, but we set high standards in that. We just want to be better in all those areas. So it's not one particular area, it's the whole package.
The inclusion of Daniel Wells as well, playing some really nice footy early this season. Must be like a new recruit for you.
Yeah, it's very difficult to replace players like Daniel, and there aren't too many players who can do the sort of things that he can do. But at the same time, we made consecutive preliminary finals basically without him the last 2 years. So I think that demonstrates that we don't rely on any one player. We're more even teams than most teams in the competition, and we don't rely on Big Ben Brown kicking 6 each week. It might be Ben this week, it might be Drew next week, and it might be Wadey the week after. So we really focus on the collective.
Brad, apart from Benny, Mitch Hibberd, part of your setup now as well. From what you've seen over the pre-season, how impressed have you been with him?
Very. Yeah, I'm a big rap for Mitch. He's got some real AFL attributes, and we really hope to see him at senior level this year. He's had a little bit of a limited preparation purely because the draft's not till late November, early December. So he's a little bit behind some of the more experienced players, but he's got a great natural fitness base. He's a hard worker. He's someone who, importantly, he's a lifelong North Melbourne supporter, and I don't think anyone will be prouder than the Hibberd family when Mitch finally makes his debut for us.